Space. People have puzzled over its wonders since mankind first looked up to the heavens. As we discover more, so our wonder increases. So many different shapes and sizes, all seemingly held in their rightful places. But how and by what? Isaac Newton came up with the answer: gravity. This satisfied everyone and formed the foundation of our knowledge to the present day. But what if it got it wrong? One man has dreamed up an answer to the same physical questions and come up with the opposite idea. Gravity is not a pull, it's a push.
My name is Walter Wright, and I want to welcome you to Fairfield, California, the town I was born in. In the 1700s, Isaac Newton had a theory that gravity was a pull between all bodies in space. In 1968, I had a theory that gravity is a push between all bodies in space. As far as I know, Newton left no models behind to prove his point. I have nothing but models to prove my point. If you come into my museum, I will show you the models. For 42 years in the daytime, I worked for a railroad as a signalman. I also taught electronics in college for 30 years.
Walter's ideas are based on his study of magnetic forces. The Earth and all other bodies in space have their own magnetic fields. Walter has built several ingenious models to prove his point. Magnets not only attract, but also repel. And this theory goes right back to the beginning of time itself.
18 billion years ago, the universe was supposed to have been the Big Bang and blown apart. And I say it was blown apart by repelling forces. These are two huge horseshoe magnets, and you can see how they repel each other. Now, what I have here is the Big Bang. I have the red magnets on the outside, yellow ones on the inside, and they're repelling. They're held in place right now physically by bolts. When I push this switch, the bolts will come down, and what you see happen, they do on their own energies. I'll push the switch on, and there you go. The universe is full of many, many bodies, and they don't seem to touch. They seem to be separating further and further apart. I use magnets to support my theory of a push. These magnets are going to repel the one in the center, and you can see how easy it is to stabilize the universe between pushes. Newton's laws, as I read them, his final law of gravitation, is the law of basic magnetism. He says closer, more attraction, everything pulls. And you can find out you can't even stabilize one body, let alone the entire universe. In 21 years, nobody's ever stabilized that magnet yet. This here is my interpretation of what holds you down to Earth by a squeeze. I don't talk much about Earth. My theory is between bodies in space, which is billions and billions of bodies. But I've shown the example here. This is the Earth, the steel ball. And you are the second steel ball at the South Pole with the penguins. The only energy in the entire model is this magnet. The red magnet is the sun. We pull the sun away, and you're held there by the sun. There's no energy in this ball or the transfer of energy from the sun that squeezes you down to Earth. When I pull the sun away further, it will drop off. You will fall off the Earth. The universe is separating in rings that are doubling. It's very symmetrical. This is a magnet and a steel bolt. I put this alongside of it, and it's 1/2. Very symmetrical. 1/3. 1/4. 1/5. 1/6. Nothing seems to want to touch in the universe, which supports my theory of a push between all bodies in space. This is my model to show you how you can be stabilized in space, how bodies can be stabilized in space. The air will push up the foam ball. In comes gravity from the sun, will push the ball back down again. And so the ball is stabilized between pushes. This model is the tide model. It shows you the high tide at apogee, the furthest point the moon is from the Earth, a higher tide at perigee, the closest point the moon is to the Earth, at the highest tide when the moon and the sun are in line with each other, a neap tide when the sun at left angles to the moon, a nep tide when the sun is at right angles to the moon, and also a high tide on the front side and the back side at the same time. It's the only model ever built, to my knowledge, that shows the tides of the world all done by pushes. Our Earth has a North Pole here and a South Pole here. Our moon has a North Pole here and a South Pole here. I've hung these magnets here for lines of force around the Earth. North Pole's up, South Pole's down. When I turn the switch on, you have a low tide. When I push the moon in, the lines of force will be pushed to the side, will squeeze the sides more, causing a low tide on the side at right and left angles to the moon, and give you a high tide facing the moon by a push. You saw the high tide light come on. This is my book called Gravity's a Push. In 1968, I started on this theory. And after 11 years, in 1979, I had my theory copyrighted, Gravity's a Push. And since that time, I've added more evidence to support my theory. Gravity is a push and not a pull.
Came in to talk to you about the two new products we have, the M505 and the M500 series Palm handhelds, which are incorporating some new secure digital or SD card features, which are small multimedia cards that are emerging on the market. The M500, the M505, you'll see them here, very similar looking. Basically, the M500 is monochrome, black and white. The M505 is full color, what we call 16-bit color, so very high quality color picture for something you're carrying in your hand. The new SD chips, which are postage stamp size chips, were invented by Panasonic and Matsushita. And this new standard was opened up to the world, so they didn't keep it closed in and only under their brand name. There's actually, in fact, over 200 companies which are supporting the SD secure digital form factor, and you're going to see a lot from this form factor over the next 6 to 12 months from those 200 plus companies. And they will be in the form of two different types of solutions for customers. They will be either media, so you can put software, books, ebooks, any type of multimedia that you would normally put onto a hard drive or a floppy disk, you could put onto this secure digital or SD card. The second side of this card is also a hardware implementation, which is known as SDIO, or secure digital I/O cards. And these can be anything from a digital camera to a modem to a wireless card to a GPS module to a camera. The new Palm M505 and the 500 catered towards professional business people as well as your high-tech user of computer equipment who want the latest gadgets that are on the market. This is an enhancement of our already popular 5-year-old Palm computer line that combines the latest features of technology, the SD cards and the wireless features and things, into a you can see how thin, very small form factor, and gives you the access to over 10,000 pieces of software we have now for the Palm, as well as these new hardware devices and software solutions that will be produced on this card. This is a great second brain that you can keep all those stored in there, along with daytimer appointments, web pages, and other information that is important to your life that you want to carry around.
Xbox is actually Microsoft's entry into the console gaming world, and it's a next-generation gaming console. Some of the games that we're actually showing right now we really want to give you a broad experience as far as what the gameplay is about. First game that we have is Oddworld, or Munch's Odyssey, and essentially this is a game that puts you in a consumer world gone wrong, and essentially you're two characters sort of switching back and forth, Abe and Munch, and essentially with those characters you have to transform the world back into an equilibrium or balance. And in those two particular characters, you can actually use their benefits. Abe has the ability to conjure things and actually control people's minds, and Munch has the ability to control machinery. The combination of those basically is going to make for one heck of a game. The next game that you're going to see is a game called Halo. And Halo is really anticipated. It's a sci-fi shooter game where you basically are fighting an alien race about miles and miles away from Earth on this sort of thing called Halo. It's a 10,000-foot sort of ring, sort of a creation of a world that both of you and the alien race have found, and you're in a race to find out exactly how to unlock the secrets of this Halo ring. And what's amazing as far as a shooter game is that the depth of the gameplay, the way that you can transform from either a vehicle, being an alien spacecraft or your own, to a car, to a Jeep, to just basically going on foot. You can attack anything in any way that you so choose. And that's the creative element of gameplay. The final game that we're going to be showing today is something called NFL Fever 2002. And that is really showcasing what our sports genres are going to look like. It allows you to become the player on the field rather than sort of commentating from the box, so that you're going to be able to actually be on the field and sort of experience the play. The graphics are unbelievable, and as you're playing, you're actually going to be able to see people's eyes tracking the ball. The personalities of the players are individual as well, so you want something they're going to each play a little bit of a different way, and they actually learn as the game progresses. What's also amazing is the detail of the way that, the football experience is. So when you're tackled, you're going to feel tackled. When, basically you're seeing the players playing an entire game, their uniforms are actually going to become soiled with the dirt and the muck, and even if it rains. So I think you're going to find, from an overall gameplay experience, unprecedented. From a graphical standpoint, unlike anything you've ever seen, and again, getting the player down onto the field.
Space News, brought to you by the 2001 Nissan Xterra.